And hugely grateful for all of you coming out to join us tonight. We couldn't do this without you. We also couldn't do anything that we do at Axios without the support of our partners. Great conversations like this, the investments we're making around the country, including right here in Raleigh, that's all the thanks to the generous support of our partners. So a huge thanks to GE Aerospace for making tonight's conversation possible. And so I'm very excited to welcome to the stage for a view from the top conversation from GE Aerospace, their Chief Human Resources Officer, Christian Meisner. Christian, welcome to the Axios stage. Best place to start here is big picture. So maybe give us a sense of a little background on GE Aerospace and its presence here in North Carolina. What brings you to town?
Yeah, glad to. Well, we're an interesting company because we've been in business for over 100 years. As many of you know, for the vast majority of that time, part of the big old General Electric that we all grew up with. Till about 18 months ago when we spun off and became our own independent public company. So it's standalone, great franchise. We power 3 out of every 4 commercial aircraft flights, 2 out of every 3 U.S. military flights. And at this moment, we estimate at any moment, we have about 950,000 people in the air as we speak with GE Power under the wings. And so the seriousness in which we take that responsibility cannot be overstated. And of course, who does the work is our employees. We have 54,000 employees globally, 28,000 here in the U.S., and 2,000 in North Carolina across 5 different facilities. It's a great workforce. In fact, 20% are veterans. I heard that mentioned before, and we love our veterans. And that, in part, is why we're investing $100 million this year in our facilities in North Carolina.
We've written a lot at Axios about how the travel industry is booming and the airline industry is booming, and of course that requires airplanes, that requires planes, that requires engines as well that you're involved in. We're talking about workforce here. How do you make sure you have the workforce to meet that demand?
Yeah, well, it's one of the many things that keeps me up at night. But people forget perhaps that COVID hit everyone hard. Other than the healthcare industry, I'd argue it hit aviation the hardest. We went from 100 miles an hour to 0 overnight. And we lost a lot of talent. We at GE Aerospace, we as an industry. Now, we've been lucky enough to hire all that talent back and then some. In fact, we'll hire probably about 5,000 people this year. And we do it through a whole series of different programs. First, you can never turn the talent spigot off. It is not just something you turn on and turn off when you need it. You always have to keep it on. And so we run about a dozen apprenticeship programs ourselves, run by GE with our own employees. We then tap into other independent apprenticeships, and then we do a lot of direct hiring. And so that's how we've fueled, if you will, the talent. And I heard also mentioned, it's really important, getting folks through the front door is only half the battle. A little bit like the medical industry where you have kind of a residency for doctors or nurses. We just don't put people out on the shop floor and have them start building engines. That's a good thing. Right? They go through a series of very significant training. Flight Deck, which is our proprietary lean operating model. It's how we run the business. It's how you learn to problem solve. All employees go through that. And then for our production workforce, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 folks a year go through very high tech. Think laser guided machining, exotic material coatings, really high tech, which allows them to build skill and build a career.
GE Aerospace, as you mentioned, 100 years old, like large company, great lineage, but you're not alone in this. I imagine there's lots of suppliers in here that are maybe a little smaller, a little newer. How do you make sure that the entire industry, or how do you think about that, has the workforce it needs, not just GE?
Yeah, it's a great point, and really need to understand we're only as good as our supply base. Right? We cannot deliver to our customers, be it Boeing, Airbus, or an airline, right? And you can't ship an engine without all the parts. It's also a good thing. So we are relying on our supply base in a huge way. And to your point, some of the smaller suppliers hurt by COVID, maybe not having all the resources that a GE Aerospace would have. And so this really is what was behind a recent set of announcements we've made from our foundation, our philanthropic arm, notably a $30 million investment in American workforce, aerospace workforce, made last week. We look to attract and train 10,000 new aerospace employees over the next 5 years. Some of those, I hope, come to GE Aerospace. Some will go to our suppliers. Some may go to our competitors. That's okay. We're really looking to raise
Having
up
more engineers is better than having few engineers.
Yeah, in this
right?
case, we're talking about production workforce, people, making parts in addition to engineers. And then, as mentioned briefly, we just made a $500,000 investment here in North Carolina to Heroes Make America, which is a transition program at Fort Bragg where we'll help folks coming out of the service to get their FAA A&P license, which is really valuable in commercial aerospace, and then have them join the workforce here. And so we're trying to do it at a macro level and then locally.
So we had the governor up here recently talking about how he views his role in all of this. What's the view from your vantage point, how government can help? And for folks who are maybe in the policymaking sphere here listening, like what should they do? What should their homework be when they go back to work?
Yeah, I think Governor Stein has a lot of it right. It's one of the reasons why we have 5 facilities here and we're looking to grow them. A couple thoughts. I mean, this is very much about scale. I mentioned we run a number of really nice apprenticeship programs, which we love. They're just not big enough. We talk about the power of the zero. If we're going to graduate 50, I really need 500, right? You get 100, you can get the idea. We probably need 1,000, either a GE or more in the industry. And so scaling really takes the partnership that you were kind of alluding to. And I see it three actors at a minimum: industry, elected officials, government, and then the education industry or institutions. We in industry have to do a much better job of what my operational friends would call demand planning. How many, with what skills, when, and where? If you're talking about 5 jobs, interesting. You talk about 500 jobs or 5,000 jobs, which easily you get to when you talk about an industry. You start getting attention. And that's where the elected officials and the institutions, educational institutions, can really come together. And North Carolina has done a number of really good examples of that, and we're leveraging them as GE Aerospace. They've got something called NC Edge, which is a really cool program that we're leveraging at our West Jefferson facility, where we will hire employees, but then the government, the state, will then fund the curriculum development and the actual professors at the community college. So it's the curriculum that we need, and of course what comes out of that is a fully formed employee. We hire them, and off we go. And so we're actually looking to scale that at our Wilmington facility here in North Carolina. And so it's examples like that where you've got the actors all together, and you start talking about numbers that really is what we need.
Let's spin this forward a little bit. Then what's on the horizon that gets you excited about when you think about tackling this challenge?
Look, we've all worked in times where the industries or the economy's going the other way. It's really hard to make progress in those environments. We are in a growth story here at GE Aerospace and the industry at large. We are sold out until the early 2030s. And so this is a growth story, an investment story. And so what gets me so excited is that is great for business, it's great for communities, and it's really great for employees. Not only do they get a job, but we're really purposely looking to continue to invest in them and to really define a career path for them. And study after study after study says, you want to retain the very best talent, attract and retain, show a career path with more skills, more capabilities, and more compensation. And doing that in a growing environment is just so much easier, more exciting. And last point, this is not your grandparents' manufacturing. You got that image from the 1950s, right? Dull and dirty. This is clean, bright, high-tech, computer-driven, really, really cool stuff. And I think it is as much about how do we expose some of the younger folks and seeing that and see this as really a career and exciting technology.
That's a great optimistic note to end on. Before we get the hook, I want to end on one fun thing like we do at Axios. We're in the middle of baseball playoffs.
Ooh,
You've got a good baseball story I want you to share.
Yeah, so a little bit of good news, bad news. Bad news, I'm a Cubs fan, so that's bad in general. All right, we got a couple, made the playoffs, but we're out. The good news was I had the opportunity to throw out the first pitch at a Cincinnati Reds game and have my youngest son catch the ball. Even better news is I didn't bounce it as much as he threatened
From
me.
the mound.
From the mound, right from the rubber. And so I'm waiting for my call any moment. It's never too late, right? So that's my little fun moment.
Keep those arms limber. We'll get back to you. I'm sure. Christian, thanks so much for being here. Huge thanks to GE Aerospace for making today possible.